we've heard a lot about NSSF, there are changes about NSSF. Can you give us a background? What are these changes and what are they supposed to do and how are they being implemented? Are they being implemented?
The NSSF, as we know it, has been in existence for a very long time. Now, in most countries, the state scheme tends to have the bigger chunk in terms of saving for retirement. But that was not the case for us. And it was because we fell behind in terms of progress of adequacy. Now, NSSF, as we know, is we all knew that it was about 200 shillings. You contribute 200 shillings, your employer does 200 shillings, then you do so until retirement. But the question would be, how adequate is 200 shillings? If anyone has had a chance to engage one or two of their retired friends, parents, or associates, they would realize that you barely do 500,000 shillings at retirement. Now, 500,000 for the next 15, 20 years is barely much. So the NSSF, new NSSF was considered. How can we improve on retirement benefit savings? So among the key things that were done, number one was increase the level of savings so that whereby you are saving 200 shillings per month, you're now doing 3 times that. And progressively over years, it will keep on increasing. And hopefully, by default, we get to save a little more because NSSF would expect us to save a little more. The Act also brings on board a level of indication of a better run state scheme. The NSSF allows again for people who are not in formal employment. We might close our eyes to those who are in employment, but if you're not in formal employment, you are allowed to join the NSSF as is, and they'll give you a minimum contribution of at least 500 shillings.
What are the potential consequences of our non-compliance?
For any employer who has at least one employee, it is mandatory for you to be part of NSSF. Mandatory for you to comply with the terms of NSSF in terms of contribution, registration, reporting, and so on and so forth. It is mandatory. Now, there are penalties. One, for not filing returns. You have to file monthly returns for NSSF. All right, as an employer. If you have one employee, then you have to remit contributions. And failure to remit those contributions, there is a penalty. And the penalty is quite punitive. I think if memory serves me right, you're charged about 3% per month for the funds that remain unremitted. And it compounds. So it will be very punitive for you to do so. For you not to comply.
The cases where you see employers actually deducting money from an employee's salary but not remitting, there can be several reasons for that. And we have seen a lot of conflict of interest with employers in terms of this. On the first part, there might be problems on the side of the employer not remitting. This can be, for example, cash flow issues. So they might be prioritizing other bills before they can actually remit the contributions to your scheme. Now, as an employee on your part, what you should usually do each and every month is when money is being remitted to your scheme, the administrator receives the money, they update your statement. So you have to take up that effort of ensuring that at the end of every month, you look at your pension statement and confirm money has actually been credited to your pension account. If none has been credited, you walk straight to your boss or your HR and ask them why that has not happened. That will really, really go a long way in terms of helping you to keep track of your savings.
Now, in the formal sector where the deduction is done before it gets right to you, you see, it feels much safer. So you don't even know about it. Unfortunately, some of the times, and a good number of the times, it is not done, even in the very lucrative sector. So that comes to credibility, even of the employer themselves. In the informal sector, a number of people are like, just like she was mentioning, the figures are very, very scary.
So at the end of everything else, because the issue of trust cuts across both in the government, both on the government side and on the private sector side, so it all depends upon personal initiative, what you want to do, or what you want to how do you want your retirement to be at the time when it comes.
I think people are familiar with the NSSF and all that. For me, my interaction with clients is they don't have trust in the government. So for them is, what are other avenues I can save my money as opposed to now the NSSF. So that's now where you'll introduce things like individual pension plans. Most people don't know such things exist. Most people don't know that you can consolidate your pension into one IPC account. So it's walking the journey with them and telling them, where have you been employed previously? So can you contact them and tell them that they can transfer your funds into an IPC account? Because now you'll find that when you have those discussions with them, they are much more comfortable.
So the purpose of Tier 1 and Tier 2 basically arose from the fact that the public was much more interested in having a portion of their benefits managed in a private way. The rest, when you look at Tier 1, basically it's almost, as much as the contribution has increased slightly, it's somewhat almost the same as what was previously there. But now the bigger portion, which is Tier 2, the Act has actually provided the option for employers to be able to manage that outside of the NSSF fund, which provides also the opportunity for employees to get a much higher degree of management of their benefits throughout the private sector.
So, as an employee, and this goes to the heart of what Lynette and Mr. Polo mentioned, that there is a degree of lack of trust in these public bodies. So what I'm hearing is that because of Tier 1 and Tier 2, the Tier 1 is still with the government, but this Tier 2, you have the option to take it wherever you want to take it. Is that so?
Yes, the employer has the right to take it to a scheme that has been approved by the retirement benefits scheme to receive that specific Tier 2 contributions. For example, the Zimele schemes which were a part of have already been approved. So if you work in the informal sector or you're an employer and you're looking to hive off that portion, you can always get in touch with Zimele to assist you in that.